glitch. There were a few stocks that had some trouble trading around 11:30, so the stock exchange decided to shut its own exchange down. Now, if you want to take a little bit more of a conspiracy tone, I'm going to just read you this tweet yesterday from the Hacktivist group, and I know you've been covering this, Gretchen, from @YourAnon News. Wonder if tomorrow is going to be a bad day for Wall Street, ... We can only hope. Also worth noting that this shutdown happened today. United Airlines had to ground its flights for a little bit this morning. Now, they got their system back up and running, but it's just a lot of dots to connect. The Wall Street Journal, our colleagues here, actually had their site down for a few hours as well.
Okay, so what does this mean for you and me and anyone else watching with regard to our money in the stock market?
To be blunt, it's probably a very limited effect. That is to say, at the New York Stock Exchange, where we see those traders trade every day, maximum only about 13% of the volume from U.S. stock trade actually goes through that site. It's also worth noting that ARCA, which is the electronic exchange for the New York Stock Exchange, was not affected at all. So that's really where the bulk of trading happens now. It's all on these electronic exchanges. The New York Stock Exchange is, in theory, the best mix of man and machine, but 10% is not a lot. Chances are you're not affected, neither am I.
Okay, interesting to note that. Now it's just coming in that at 3:05 p.m. Eastern, that will be technically when the New York Stock Exchange will reopen. Obviously, though, huge waves that are caused all around the world because of the global impact of even just the imagery of the New York Stock Exchange being shut down.
Yeah, this is a huge symbol of capitalism. And to your point, Gretchen, I mean, if you looked at the Dow and the S&P 500 before this started, which was around 11:30 a.m. Eastern time, you know, markets were already trying to digest news we have in China, a 30% drop in the past 3 weeks alone. Chinese government becoming very heavy-handed in regulation of their markets right now. And Greece, you know, we're not going to get a final deal till Sunday, but a lot of U.S. investors still wondering essentially what that's going to mean for U.S. investors here.
Okay, so what about the Chinese stock market? That would have been a huge headline today had this New York Stock Exchange thing not happened.
There, you're right.
The potential global impact of that kind of a collapse.
Well, indeed. I mean, China is huge. If you just look at the numbers, right? More than 1 billion people living there, and of course the world's second largest economy. I mean, China is huge. Okay, so that is the potential dark cloud. Potential silver lining, for better or worse, is that the Chinese government is authoritarian. It can do what it wants. It has already interceded, if you like, in the stock market, saying, first of all, IPOs are banned. In other words, you cannot go to market if you're a new company. You just can't. You basically get chucked in jail if you do it. They want the investors to invest in the current stocks that are out there already. So essentially the Chinese government can do things, for better or worse again, that the U.S. government cannot, so they are controlling, to a certain extent, as much as possible, their market free fall.
All right, very interesting. Again, Stock Exchange here in New York City will open about 10 minutes from now. Deidre, thank you.
Thanks, Gretchen.